So how did I make $130 trading Microsoft put options? So looking at Microsoft at 1311, so 1311, and I always look at, not always, but I look on most of these trades on the 30-minute time chart. So at 1311 I bought, let's see, so right here. So basically as soon as Microsoft approached the 50-day moving average on the 1330 candle, I bought put options, and then at 1403, which is 1403, so not this candle, but this very same candle right here, the 1430 candle. So at 1403 I sold out the position, and when I sold out the position I made a gain of $130 trading Microsoft put options. And the reason I played put options on Microsoft was because basically I just waited for Microsoft to approach the 50-day moving average. And basically I was like, okay, well, I feel like this could see some rejection by the 50-day moving average. And basically this big candle in the pre-market basically had trouble staying above the 50-day moving average. So I was like, okay, let's see if it can try and retest that 50-day moving average throughout the day, and let's see if it can break above that same 50-day moving average. And if it does, okay, I'll just cut out my losses once the position is up. Once the position is down 10%. And basically what I'm trying to also do is I'm trying to level out my risk tolerance level. And basically everyone has a different risk tolerance level. My personal risk tolerance level is when I see that my position is down 10% and I'm not feeling very confident in the trade. I'll take the 10% hit, move on to the next trade, and aim for a 20% profit instead now. So everyone's different. Everyone aims for different percentage targets or different profit targets. So me personally, I try to aim for anywhere from 5 to 10% gainers. And sometimes if I'm feeling really confident in that trade, I'll try to aim for a higher percentage target. Usually I'll try to aim for at least a 15 or 20% gainer if possible. But typically I'll just stick to aiming for a 5 or 10% gain most of the times. Now if I'm swing trading, that's a totally different story. I'll try to aim for a higher percentage target instead, due to the fact that if I observe, for example, let's see, I don't think I can show it on the Microsoft chart, but let me see if I can show you guys an example of a swing trade. Let's see, just using the Magnificent Seven, but let me see if it's possible or not. But not. Okay, for example, Amazon, right? I would play put options, on Amazon. And basically why would I do that is because right now the 9 and 20-day moving average are below the 50-day moving average. Typically when that happens, that usually indicates that particular stock is going to enter into a bearish trend. And most of the times, will that happen? Not really. It doesn't like most, technical indicators out there, none of them are 100% foolproof. But if you have a certain game plan set in mind where you're ready to take a, when you're ready to take a loss at, like, your percentage loss that you're willing to take, okay, you're set to go. You're set to go into this trade and prepare for the best or prepare for the worst. So me personally, like I said, usually if I'm not feeling confident in the trade, I'll start out with a small position, and then I'll try to analyze the chart on the 4-hour time chart to see if there's any movements by the moving averages. But typically, what will happen is basically just how I said, right? If I'm swing trading this, I'll basically buy call options that expire in either 3 or I'll either buy options that expire in 2 weeks, or monthly options, or if I'm feeling like really confident in that trade, I'll typically buy what's called maybe options that expire in 2 or 3 months, and that way I have enough time for that trade to go my way. And if I see that that trade isn't going my way, I cut my loss at 10%, and I just move on to the next trade. And typically, when you're swing trading, I feel like you're supposed to not be so much greedy, because typically if you're swing trading, that's where you'll see those high gainers occur. So there could be a random moment in the day where all of a sudden, that particular stock makes a huge move, whether you're playing calls or puts, makes a huge move, and that could totally impact your options in a positive way, depending on what you're playing, right? And usually, what you'll see is that where it says percentage, so where it says 11.06%, that's basically what you want to pay attention to. So basically, if you're trying to aim for a 20% gainer for the week or for the month, try to pay attention to that percentage gauge. I guess you could describe it as that way. But basically, try to pay attention to your percentage target that you have set in mind. But let me see if I can find a way. Let me see. So this is how I would go with this trade, right? So basically, Amazon on the 30-minute time chart today. So as soon as it approached the 50-day moving average, I would have bought Amazon put options. And then basically from there, I would just only start small just to see what the trend is on the 4-hour time chart. I would switch to the 4-hour time chart and see what the moving averages are at currently. So right now, basically, the 9 and 20-day moving average are currently below the 50-day moving average. Typically, when that pattern shows up, that indicates that stock will enter into a bearish trend. Now, will that happen 100%? No, it's not really. It doesn't have to, but it is I guess you could say, like a clear indicator that could tell you, okay, maybe that stock could possibly see a bearish trend, maybe this week or next week, or possibly following tomorrow. And so basically, I'll try to pay attention to the 4-hour time chart, and that way I can decide to whether stay in the position a little longer or try to cut my losses once the position is down 10% and move on to the next trade. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully, I guess you understood this, but this is not financial advice. As always, take care and bye.